editing the magazine. So like working on people's, putting
Mhm.
stories up onto the Tyrant magazine website, like that I was doing that when everything happened, showing a version of the world and sort of like demanding that the reader look at that and ask like, or other writers I like who have narrators that kind of explore like shocking or maybe like outlooks that one shouldn't say, like the question it's not a memoir, it's not a recording of someone's experience per se, it's more asking the read, like proposing a vision of the world and then asking them, is this the world, you know? Is
Right,
the world like this,
right.
or is it as, and then I don't know, that's or showing, yeah, that I feel like that's I find that to be like a stimulating mode to read in and to write in.
And the idea of, oh, you got this book deal, you got X amount of money, so everything's okay. Which is like, wait, how the fuck does that work? You know? Um, that, oh, so now in the capitalist narrative, because the Seans get a book deal
Right.
and got paid X amount of money, everything's okay, and then you're set, and there's no more problems, and that's it for life. You're and
Yeah, it's crazy down.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot of like conflating of what happened with the book to try to invalidate what the story of the book is about, which is
right,
interesting, and
right.
like wires crossing. But I understand. Like I think I might have told this story before where um oh yeah, how about, well, just this writer Tommy Orange,
Yeah, he's
who
great.
blurred my book, and I'd never had any contact with him or anything. He just got the book, and but when I got that message that with the blurb, and I was like, I had his book, and I was like, oh yeah, like I remember getting this book and reading it, and I like went to it, and it was like on like page 60. I was like, I could have sworn I read this book, but then I was like, like you forget like a memory that you had, and I was like, I think I like when I got it, part of me was just like started reading it. And I said like, I want to write like like I want to write this book, like I don't know, I understand. And then it was like so nice. Yeah, I understand like competitive art shit.
Creativity is basically taking something that exists, like these things that are absolute that exist, and then combining them. Like I don't know if it was Melville who called uh, the idea of that oceans were a whale road. They were a road for
Mhm.
whales, and it changed
Okay.
the people's perception of the ocean. It's not just a scary, it was, oh,
Right, right, right.
it's like they didn't have the word freeway, but it's these roads for
Right,
whales, and these
water highway.
it
Yeah.
existed, and it feels like all of a sudden somebody says something, and it seems like it always existed. But it takes a creative mind to take things that are there and combine them.
But I think that is a helpful like worldview to come out of in situations like that, like, or I even have that with like, male friendships, like male friend, like you're kind of competing sometimes, or like pushing each other. But then if you fall completely in a resentment and let the envy complete, it's like, I think I wasn't reading Tommy, or like I was literally looking at like, wow, this is like, it was such an acclaimed book in 2019 and probably 3 or 4 people told me to read it, and I started reading it, and I was kind of just like, part of me was just like, oh, like time's ticking, like I need to write my book. That's, like it was that. And then it's like, that's just the same thing with like I don't know, like people reaction to my stuff, you know. I think it's like, but they're not using it as a motivation. They're just being angry, you know.
Idea of writers and jealousy, and how we can look at that and
Yeah.
unpack it within ourselves, and then what also when you find yourself the target of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure we had, yeah, different experiences, but there's probably some similarities. I mean, um, yeah, I mean, I think it's also for me a lot of I don't know. I feel like I have an outlook towards like literature and like reading. Like sometimes I think like I have a viewpoint on like what reading, how writing can be, or like what the purpose reading can serve, that like I want to like, I just try to have like an encouraging um um outlook in how I move and talking to people, and like because I feel like we're a tiny part of the media spectrum, and people are writing books. So like I want to be like a spokesperson for, or I've had that energy, you know, like, and even just like with Gian, like the time when I was like working with Gian and just like doing podcasts and stuff, and like I think that, but then I think that energy, then yeah, it's something to do with like the internet too, of just how everything happened in my experience of the book, where
We'll
you
speak.
where you kind of like, you know, you have like these online relationships or editing people's writing, you know, that, and then doing podcasts with people, and you develop this kind of like intimacy, but you also don't know the person.
Mhm.
You never seen them in real life, so then like when things turn, like you feel close to them, you feel like you know them, but then you don't have any of the accountability of like having to go see them. So I think that's how like a lot of the stuff happened, or even just like right before the book coming out with Gian having me edit the New York Tyrant magazine, and then like the position that put me in, where people felt like they could man, I've been talking, I hate that I'm still talking about this, but yeah, I mean, it must have been wild for you though.
No, no, go back to what you're saying.
Well, I was just saying, yeah, just that position of kind of like Gian having me be the editor of this magazine that a lot of people wanted to like, and then a bunch of stuff happening before the book came out that was just like some
What
stuff
was the
some
editing?
stuff
What
people
was the
know.
editing thing?
Oh, just editing the magazine. So like working on people's, you know, putting
Mhm.
stories up onto the Tyrant magazine website, like that I was doing that when everything happened. So like, yeah, just a lot of like, you know, I don't know, a lot of people see this big thing happen with the book and like aren't hearing from me or whatever in the same way, and then just kind of like lash out at me. But there are also things that led to the book happening that are just like still, yeah, not some stuff you can't, you don't, you know. Anyway,
No, no, finish your thought.
hard to talk. Some stuff is just, it's just still being processed, you know, and like
Well, it's
I haven't talked
joyful. I
about
mean,
it.
people have received the book wonderfully. I don't want to just
Yeah,
focus on, I feel
yeah.
like it's easy. I don't want to focus.
Well, it's probably something that, I mean, I had the thought, you know, like some things that we have crossovers on personally, um, in terms of like just kind of creating a storm and having all kinds of different reactions, you know.
And it's a
But
beautiful work of literature, and that I need to hammer home. The sweetness of Sean comes through. I have this my own personal theory that, like, in fiction, in memoir, whatever you're reading, that people's essence comes through, and the rest are, like, the rest are is details. You can meet
yeah,
someone and you just feel like, man, I feel you, and
yeah,
it's like the rest of getting to know someone, it's like details, but you feel like,
yeah,
okay, I'm vibing with you. I just really plug in, but it's like that, where there are some people where you read them, there's always this kind of removed coldness, and then there are
right,
some people where there's this warmth. It's like,
right,
take Stephen King, at least like his older stuff that I used to read, there was just such a warmth and a caring that came through, like he was
Yeah.
holding people. There wasn't this kind
Yeah.
of cold transgressive, even though there was an incredible violence and fear. And I remember
Right.
reading
Right.
it, yeah, in my early 20s, and just I would have like tripped out dreams, but there was this warmth, like he really
Yeah.
it felt like this is someone who cares about people. And then there were
Yeah.
some writers I would read, and there was just always this cold.
Yeah.
And I feel that people's essence kind of shines through, and that's the thing that I'm really struck by in with Sean, is there's this incredible love and warmth and connectedness, and that's what his searching is, and his asking and his examination of himself and questioning. And it's not to be, like a fuck boy, that
Right. Right.
that he's really not, that